Welcome to Evolve with the Modern Caveman.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Welcome to Evolve with the Modern Caveman. I'm your host, Gilbert Diaz, aka the Modern Caveman himself, and we have a great show prepared for you today. And given that this episode will drop the day before Independence Day, I saw that it will only be fitting to focus this episode on the concept of freedom, but more specifically, freeing yourself from the strongholds that are holding you back from achieving your greatness and realizing the fullness of your potential. Now, I've said this time and time again, and I'm going to say it again on this episode. I truly believe that everybody, no matter how great or small, we are all capable of greatness. I believe this in part because I believe that we were all created by a great and powerful God who created us in his image and in his likeness. And if that is the case, then greatness is already living within us. I believe that the fullness of our potential will only be recognized when we begin to tap into that greatness. Now, I cannot begin to tell you how many people I've met over the years who are extremely gifted. I mean, highly intelligent and immensely talented individuals who are capable of achieving immeasurable feats, yet they can't seem to perform at the height and the level that they are capable of. They often find themselves imprisoned in this state of paralysis that keeps them from realizing the greatness that exists within them. Now, my kids love to play video games, and one of their favorite things to do is to create their own avatars. They spend hours upon hours adjusting their avatar's abilities, their avatar's weapons, their strengths, appearances, their powers, and other key components in order to give them a competitive edge in the game. Now, I want you to do something. I want you to imagine that you were an avatar, and your gifts, talents, and abilities are the potential greatness that is living inside of you, available for you to utilize whenever you need to compete in the game of life. How will you utilize these unique powers? How would you feel if you knew that you were capable of so much more, yet you have chosen to limit yourself to what you believe that you can do? The truth is, I believe that within his perfect will, his perfect power and greatness, our Creator already preset us with high levels of potential to help us succeed. And it's up to us to tap into that. Yet for some reason, most of us lack the ability to embrace the power that is living within us. And we begin to believe that we are only capable of the limited versions that we create in our minds. If we were to look at our avatar from the outside in, excuse me, if we were to look at our avatar from the outside in the way that God views us, on paper, we should be able to achieve the highest levels of success. See, you are capable of greatness. You are worthy of it. But most importantly, you are already equipped with it. Now, there are 5 key areas in our life that I was able to identify where our greatness can not only be unlocked, but it can also be imprisoned if we don't make significant investments in them. These 5 key areas are daisy chained together to create what I refer to as our state of being. And like the adjustments that we can make in a video game avatar, the investments that we make in these areas will greatly affect the quality of our performance in the game of life. These 5 key areas govern who you are and how you express the greatness that is living within you. For the sake of this episode, I'm only going to focus on one of these particular areas today, but I will cover the rest in future installments. These 5 areas are as follows, and they're not in any particular order. Number 1, the first area of your state of being is your spiritual state or your soul set. Another word that I like to define it as. This encompasses your spiritual life and your devotion to God, more specifically, your relationship with Him. Now, as a preacher and as a Christian, I have to say I am biased with my faith, and I believe that my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is the answer to living a rich and fulfilled life. But it's not just calling yourself a believer that unlocks greatness. It's actually practicing and living in the spiritual manner that we are expected to live. In doing so, we create the moral standards that expect nothing less but greatness in our life. When we don't make these significant spiritual investments, we leave ourselves vulnerable to be imprisoned by the things that are contrary to our faith, creating a spiritual stronghold. The second area of our state of being is our physical state or our health set. This is in regards to your physical health. It has been scientifically proven that you are what you consume. Now, this is an area that I definitely struggle in because I love food. Particularly, I love the food that isn't always great for me. But it's not just diet. Investments in the physical state include exercise, resisting physical temptations, and anything that can tangibly affect your life. Lack of investment in these areas can create physical strongholds that keep you from achieving the fullness of your potential. The third area of your state of being is your skill sets. Now, these are your special abilities, your gifts, your talents. These are the most obvious expressions of our greatness. They include your ability to create and express yourself. Investments in these areas include education, immersion, and practice. And lack of investments in these areas can create strongholds in your livelihood, your personal advancements, and your recognition. The fourth area of your state of being is your emotional state, or what I like to refer to as your heart set. This area includes your passions and your emotional well-being. These are the deep-rooted areas of our lives that express how we react and how we respond to life's challenges. If we leave these areas unchecked, they can form emotional strongholds that enable you from moving forward and keep you in prison to the strong powers of emotions. And last but not least, the area that I will be focusing on in today's episode is your mental state, your mindset. The area of your life that directly contributes to your belief systems and the way you view the world around you, affecting your mental well-being. Left unchecked, we can find ourselves locked within mental prisons that keep us from even believing that we are capable or worthy of the greatness that is living within us. It is important to know that each of these areas of your state of beings, of your state of being, contribute and overlap into one another. And not one area is more or less important than the other. They are all essential to creating a healthy state of being and a life that is rich and fulfilled. Now, in the world of personal development, self-development, or how I like to define it as your personal evolution, mindset is often the core concentration that a lot of coaches focus on. And achieving your freedom from mental prisons, achieving your freedom from the mental prisons that you found yourself in, is important to recognizing your greatness, let alone utilizing it. Your mental freedom is more than just more than just a state of mind. It is the foundation upon we built our goals, dreams, and aspirations. It is the key to unlocking our potential and living a life of fulfillment and success. Today, we're going to explore the importance of mindset on your personal well-being, what it means to be mentally free. We're going to identify what are those strongholds that are holding us back. And finally, I want to give you a few powerful keys that I believe can help you unlock your mental freedom today. So let's dive right in, and let's start by understanding the role that mindset has on your life. You see, your mindset is how you interpret the world around you and the challenges that you will face. A positive mindset will contribute to forming better relationships, better, healthier relationships. It will contribute to better emotional regulation. It will allow us to take effective action and allow us to better manage stress and contribute to our confidence and help us recognize opportunities when opportunities present themselves. A positive mindset helps you interpret events and experiences in a constructive manner. Now, a negative mindset, however, will cause the complete opposite and lead to a pessimistic view of the world around you, where you may see setbacks and personal failures and feel overwhelmed by difficulties. We may have trouble forming healthy relationships with a negative mindset. We may become overwhelmed by stress. We experience low self-worth and low self-esteem, and we lack the confidence to take effective action. Mental freedom is the ability to think, to feel, and to act without constraint by negative thoughts, to act without constraint of limiting beliefs or social pressures. It's our ability to direct our minds so that we can pursue our purpose and live a life that is more authentic. Now, it is my belief that an idea is like a seed that gets planted in our minds, and it becomes watered by our thoughts, the thoughts that we entertain. Those ideas begin to grow roots, and the deeper they grow, eventually they will reach your heart. When this happens, it becomes a part of who you are. Now, the question that we have to ask ourselves is, how many negative ideas and affirmations have we watered by entertaining those thoughts? And now they have become rooted in our hearts, and we've begun to believe that they are a part of who we are. Unlike the physical freedom, which is the absence of external constraints, mental freedom is about breaking free from internal constraints. It's the freedom to be yourself, to take the risks, to make the hard decisions, to make the decisions that you want to make, that align with your values, your morals, your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations. Mental freedom is crucial because it empowers us to achieve greatness, not just by changing our circumstances, but by transforming our mindset. In order for us to find mental freedom, we must first identify the mental prisons that have locked us away, keeping us from realizing our full potential. I think one of the most obvious mental prisons is fear. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of the unknown. Fear is the ultimate paralyzer. It constrains us from taking actions. It sows doubt in our lives, and it keeps us from taking necessary risks. Another prison that you may find yourself constantly in is the prison of low self-worth and low self-esteem and low confidence, constantly questioning your ability and your worthiness, which will undermine your confidence and stop you from pursuing your goals. A third mental prison that you may find yourself in is the prison of societal expectations. We cannot achieve our own greatness because we are busy trying to fit into someone else's mold, someone else's belief of what we should be. Expectations from friends, family, and society can create a sense of obligation that stifles our true desires and our ambitions. All these strongholds, and I'm sure there's many more, contribute to perhaps the ultimate prison, the prison of limiting beliefs. These are deeply ingrained beliefs that limit our potential, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally. These are the beliefs that tell us that you're not good enough, that we do not deserve the success that we're striving for. These are the beliefs that tell us that we are not capable, that we are only capable of but so much, that we are not talented enough, we are not gifted enough or smart enough to achieve the greatness that we're striving for. Though these strongholds and prisons are powerful, they are not insurmountable. By recognizing and addressing them, we can begin to reclaim our lives, but most importantly, achieve mental freedom. There was a story that I once heard about an elephant and a rope. And the story goes like this. One day a man was walking to a circus when he noticed the elephants were only restrained by a small rope tied to their front leg. There were no chains, there were no cages. It was clear that the elephants could break free from their bonds at any time, but for some reason, they did not. Curious, the man asked the trainer why the elephants didn't try to break free. The trainer explained that when the elephants are very young and much smaller, they use the same size rope to tie them together. At that age, it's enough to hold them. And as they grow up, they condition themselves to believe they cannot break free. They believe that the rope can still hold them, so they never try to break free. This story is a powerful reminder that just like the elephants, many of us go through life hanging onto a belief that we cannot do something simply because we failed at it once before. Freedom first begins in your mind, in your mindset. Now, here are a few keys that I believe that you can use to unlock your freedom today. As I've stated in previous episodes, these keys must be practiced on a consistent basis in order to achieve the best results. These same keys can also be applied to the other 4 areas of your state of being. First, and I believe perhaps the most important of all the keys that will unlock your mental freedom, is the key of self-awareness. If we seek freedom in our lives, we must first and foremost identify where we currently are. Self-awareness is the foundation of mental freedom. It involves understanding your thoughts, your emotions, and behaviors. We must be honest and identify the prison that we are currently living in. Honesty allows us to embrace the change that is ahead. By becoming more aware of your inner world, you can identify the patterns and beliefs that are holding you back. The second vital key to unlocking your greatness and unlocking and achieving your mental freedom is by seeking out the truth. Now, as a preacher, I can't help but to think of the scriptures. The truth shall set you free. In life, we are constantly being bombarded by lies. Lies that, when told multiple times over and over, can be accepted as truth. Now, the only antidote for dispelling these lies is by seeking out the truth. Limiting beliefs are false perceptions that constrain our potential. To unlock mental freedom, we must identify and challenge those beliefs. We must challenge those lies by tackling them with the truth. Ask yourself, is my belief my own, or does it belong to someone else? Where did this belief come from? Why do I believe it? And how can I reprogram and reframe it? Replace lies with truth, and replace limited beliefs with limitless aspirations. Reframe your mind and reprogram your mind by constantly telling yourself that you are capable and resourceful. But don't just say it, live it, believe it. Over time, this will shift your mindset and will transform your perception and open up new possibilities. The third key to unlocking your freedom is education, educating yourself. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you want to be the master of your mind, you must stop being a slave to it. The only way you can do this is by constantly educating yourself and immersing yourself in the ways to unlock your full potential. For centuries, people held power over others simply by limiting their education. The more you educate yourself, the more potential power you have to utilize. The fourth key to unlocking your full greatness, the fullness of your greatness, is to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. I recently read a story, a parable about a hut and a cow. Now, the story goes a little bit like this. Two men, a master and his apprentice, were wandering around the desert. At some point, they, on their journey, as they were passing through the desert, they see a beat up hut not too far away with a cow close by. When they inspect the hut, they see a man living with his family. The man is hospitable. He gives the master and his apprentice water and some food. And at some point, the master asks the man, "Listen, you are far from society. How have you and your family managed to survive?" And the man replies, he says, "Well, right outside we have a cow, and that cow has been able to produce milk that we're able to feed on. And when we're not drinking the milk, we could take the milk and we could turn it into cheese, and we can eat the cheese." The master shakes his head and he thanks them for their hospitality, and him and his apprentice begin to walk off. As they begin to walk off, the master turns to his apprentice and tells him, "I want you to do something for me. I want you to take the cow and throw him off and push him off a cliff." Now the apprentice is shocked by the master's lack of appreciation, and he says to the master, he says, "How could you push this cow? How could you want me to push this cow off a cliff, knowing that it is these people's only source of living?" The master said, "Just do as I told you." Reluctantly, the apprentice goes, finds the cow, and he pushes it off the cliff. And then he returns back to his master. Now, years go by, and the apprentice is kind of just plagued by the guilt of pushing the cow off the cliff and potentially destroying the livelihood of this family. And one day he decides he's going to go back to the desert and visit the family in the hut and apologize for pushing their cow down the cliff. When he gets to the area, he notices something different. He notices that there's a big house, a lot of greenery and servants. When he gets to the house, he asks for the master of the house, and he sees that it was the man who was living in the hut. He's confused. He asks the master of the house, how is it that you were able to achieve this? The last time I saw you, you only had a cow and you were surviving off his milk and cheese. He said, well, my cow fell off a cliff and I was forced to find other means. I had to push myself beyond my limits. And I had to learn to utilize gifts that I didn't know that I had. And because of that, I've been able to build the life that you see before you. We must challenge ourselves. We must push ourselves beyond the limits. We must do the things that are hard. Take the risks. Walk out into the unknown and embrace the process. The next key to unlocking your mental freedom is by keeping your own promises. Ed Milet, who I regard to be one of the best self-development coaches right now, teaches this so eloquently. He says that when someone is lacking self-confidence or has low self-esteem in their life, it's because they fail to keep the promises that they make to themselves. When we say we are going to do something and we don't follow through, we trust ourselves less and less, and it affects the beliefs that we ultimately have about ourselves, contributing to how we take action the next time around. If you say you're going to go to the gym, do it. If you say you're going to start eating better, you're going to get on that diet, do it. If you say you're going to start that business that you've been always dreaming about, do it. If you say you're going to make that change, do it. Lastly, the next key to unlocking your greatness and unlocking your mental freedom is changing the people, places, and things that have the most influence in your life. Surround yourself with people who will help set standards for your life, not expectations. Remove yourself from places that encourages you to fail and break the habits of the things that are draining from your life and not contributing to it. Protect your mindset by reinforcing positivity and growth around you. I'm sure there are probably many, many more keys that can help you unlock your greatness. But if you are looking right now to unlock that greatness, if you're looking right now to find mental freedom, start with these. And I can promise you that your life will never be the same again. Remember that each of these keys requires you to make the conscious choice to turn them. Before we go, I want to acknowledge that tomorrow is Independence Day here in the United States of America. It is the day that we accept universally to be America's birthday. The day that the day we chose in 1776 to trade away monarchy in exchange for liberty. From that day to this day, America has grown to become the most powerful and influential nation, and may I say the greatest nation on the face of the planet. But like most nations, America has had its share of growing pains. In our history, America was stained with the sin of slavery, segregation, and discrimination. We endured countless political and social movements, including the women's rights movement during the turn of the century and the civil rights movements in the 1960s. America endured a civil war that threatened its existence. We fought 2 world wars, a 40-year Cold War and a 20-year war on terror, to name a few. Many have sacrificed all. Many have sacrificed all that they had for this country. We've lost sons and daughters, husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, friends and kin. This reminds us that true freedom isn't free, but paid for by the sacrifice of others who are bold enough to stand up for it. helping to complete what our sacred Constitution says, to make this a much more perfect union. Now, it would seem that in recent years, America has become more divided than ever, and that our days of power and influence may be limited. But I refuse to believe this. I refuse to believe that America's best days are behind us. I refuse to believe that we are as divided as the media or our politicians want us to believe. I am a proud American. America isn't perfect. We never were. But we strive to be the best that we can. And on this Independence Day, let us remember the price of freedom and be united to pay the cost to protect it. To not only protect it, but to perfect it. To this day, people from all around the globe see America as a beacon of hope. Let us put aside our differences and embrace our uniqueness and unite to make this a more perfect union. We the people. For freedom begins and ends with us. If you enjoyed this episode, let me know by liking and commenting your thoughts. Let me know how these 6 keys to unlocking your mental freedom have affected your life, and any others that and express to me any others that you may add. If you found value in what we discussed today, please save and share this episode with a friend, a family, or anyone that you think could benefit from this discussion. Remember to follow the podcast and click the notification icon so that you can be alerted to new episodes or content anytime we post. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Modern Caveman's Club. And lastly, share with me what topics would you like me to cover next. I'm always happy to hear from you. And some of you have even expressed interest in Modern Caveman merchandise, so stay tuned more for that. As always, keep evolving the Modern Caveman way. God bless you, and may God bless these United States.